right. I think I did it right this time.
Hey,
All right. All right.
that's like
So,
I
yeah.
practice. This is real.
Huh, I know. I was like, what does that mean? As I squint at the screen.
My life.
Oh, I gotta be back again.
Yeah.
No. So we were talking about shrooms. So I don't know. I guess we can wait for people to join. Hey, there's one person, Phantom of the Opera. Hi. All right. So we're talking about shrooms today. So welcome everybody.
What up?
And we were just I had to switch it up, but so we were discussing, you said oyster
Oh,
shroom.
I was just talking about this book. This is Medicinal Mushrooms, The Essential Guide by Dr. Christopher Hobbs. He's a mycologist, professor of mycology, believe biology, for herbalist, yeah, for over 40 years. Been at this for a while, definitely an OG. Shout out Paul Stamets too, the kind of like the the um the household name of mushrooms and the like.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just like talking about this book. It's got all kinds of, I mean, it's just a guide on how to get the most from your mushrooms, what it even means. Like here, I just flipped to this page about decoctions. And basically like a decoction is, if you think about tea, that would be like a decoction.
Okay.
Like keeping something and letting it sit would be like a decoction. So this is just tells you like, there's like, for example, we grind up or we make powders. So we've had a batch we grew lion's mane and we made powders out of it. So essentially this book gave us the insight and the step-by-step to make like
So
you get all of everything from your mushrooms. You're not just like, oh, let me just,
yeah.
because usually people will just like dry out the fruit body and just grind it up. However, the issue with that is you're losing like most, if not all, of the nutrients. You're only getting like this much. So this book gives you the step-by-step guide, and how to prepare your mushrooms, what to get from it. And with this pill and with the grinding, well, with the pill method that I'm speaking of, essentially, well, you basically make a slurry. You boil down the fruit body and it'll like have you'll have all the water and you have all that, but you don't get rid of anything. Because usually when you what am I saying? When you soak it, we're like, yeah, when you're boiling it, you just you would throw away the fruit is what they would say. But you use everything, blend it up, and you make like a slurry, dehydrate it, then you grind it up. Because then you get of the nutrients.
Because a lot of the nutrients.
So it's like mushroom keef.
It's like mushroom. She said it's like mushroom keef, but it's literally like a slurry. It's just like if you think about,
because you would boil the mushroom.
Paste.
Yeah, it's a paste.
Yeah,
it's more of a paste. So like when you boil blend it, it's just like mushroom mush, right?
Oh, okay.
Dehydrate that, and then it becomes like almost like a thin, brittle type thing. And so then it's like hard, and so then you grind that up. And the reason why you do it is, like she said, because all the nutrients are stuck in those cell walls, and so they're not bioavailable unless you have water or alcohol to break it down. And so that's why it's like that's why you boil it first, because you could just grind it up and you'd get some benefits, but you're not gonna unlock everything.
Yeah,
a lot of nutrients that way. So yeah.
Well, that's fun to learn,
and that's a good way to prepare your medicinal mushrooms.
Okay.
All right, so medicinal, that would be inactive. So when we think of medicinal or gourmet, inactive. So oysters, lions. Active would be the psychedelic mushrooms. So golden teachers, penis envy.
Oh, okay.
Envy.
You said what?
So penis envy. So that's an active or psychedelic mushroom, but we call it pussy envy.
Oh yeah. Yes, definitely.
Because ain't nobody envy no.
We don't want no penises around here. No.
We got these, motherfucker.
That's plenty enough. The
Oh shit.
phalanges. Thank you.
That's-
You're such a fool.
but yeah, just a quick little, just like a quick little like vocab. When you think of like, so you don't have to say, you don't have to like separate medicinal, because all mushrooms are medicinal. All of them have health benefits. When you
Yeah.
active is psychedelic, inactive is like shiitakes and like mushrooms you can like cook with, and you know,
Okay.
yeah. No worries.
All right.
A little nerd
I
shit.
didn't know there was like so much funness that goes into it.
Oh,
So
there's a
you were saying as far as like, so with all of them, do you have to grow them all a different way? Or are they all kind of grown the same way?
they for the most part they grow the same way. But they do grow different. They kind of have different. For example, lion's mane will just lion's mane is so hype that it'll grow inside of it'll grow from the mycelium inside of the jar. When in its
Oh,
incubation,
wow.
you won't have it. You won't have had like planted it. Quotes, so just you won't have had to have like done anything. It's like it's so active that sometimes it'll grow on any medium.
Oh,
Aggressively,
okay.
very aggressive.
Ugh,
I'll say
damn it.
what's one that we've grown that kind of took a while. That's a little difficult. Golden teachers were
Golden teachers,
interesting.
like the peanut strain took a while. We've been trying to experiment with a couple other ones that.
I mean,
Hey,
it is what it is. It is, yeah. But mushrooms overall are pretty finicky. But yeah, they grow. It depends on the strain, and it depends on like, because most active mushrooms grow in like the same, pretty much the same environment, like humid soil, that type of shit. But like lion's mane, we've grown successfully out of the same substrate as active mushrooms. However, they do like lion's mane and blue oyster type mushrooms. They do like to grow out of wood. Like
Okay.
they're posers, so they like to grow. So when they grow in nature, they grow on dead wood.
Oh, okay.
Grow on dead wood, so that's what they like. So when you're recreating the environment, a lot of people will like soak wood pellets, like a mixture, like a wood mixture, and have them grow out of that
Yeah.
as their substrate. Yeah.
So is that because it's like a decaying kind of thing?
It is.
Or is
It's a
it
decomposer. So
okay?
blue oysters. I really like blue oysters. There's all different kinds of oyster mushrooms. Literally, there's like different kinds of lion's mane. Uh there's oyster mushrooms that you can eat, different kinds of ratios. There's different kinds that you can eat. There's different kinds that like are specifically used to break down waste material.
Oh, wow.
Obviously there's oyster. I mean, this is how they even figured that was obviously you see the oysters growing in nature and how they react to the wood. That's what they do, because the cycle. So so mushrooms have like three versions of themselves. There's the mycorrhizal, which is a symbiotic relationship between fruit and the tree. So the host of the tree is the host.
Okay.
Symbiotic relationship. The mushroom, the fruit body, uh, has mycelium, so it helps the tree to it opens more root zones, allows the tree to get more water, more nutrients, because it's all these microbes. It's like mycelium is just basically like a superfood for nature.
Okay.
And then they're saprophytic, which means they're decomposers essentially. So they basically, so you have the builders, then you have the ones who break down, and then you have like the parasitic mushrooms, that will literally just like all the way down, and decomposers and the parasitic mushrooms work in tandem, so that you basically like renew the soil. You need all of it.
Oh, okay.
Parasites. This is the thing that the parasites do. They basically tell you, like what needs to die, essentially. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
They're
So
like, you don't need that one anymore.
yeah, that anymore. And I mean, and we're still pretty new to this too. So like, we're always learning something new, every day. So like, and yeah,
Yeah.
so Like there's the builders, the decomposers, and like it's good to have the parasites because it tells you what's going on with the environment. So you're like, oh shit, it's getting crazy in here. So let me bring in some decomposers to help break it down. Because the parasites, it's like great, they're all good and all, but it opens more wounds and opens more just for like fuckery.
Okay.
Decomposers are a beautiful part of the environment because it, like I said, breaks it down, creates a whole nother environment, allows the mycorrhizal, the symbiotic mushrooms to take place if that's the environment for them to build.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And that's like when we had talked last week or the week before, and you were talking about soil remediation, and I assume that the fact that they have these kind of capabilities to decompose things or to I don't know what was the other word, like you were like rise up mushrooms.
Mycorrhizal.
There you go. There you go.
Going on. I tried to it and now I don't know how to get it off. So this
it's fine.
How do I take it off, man?
I don't know.
All right, hold up. Okay. Yeah, the mycorrhizal, yeah.
Okay. And so like because they have like all these different like capabilities, like we were talking about soil remediation. So it's like, people when they see mushrooms in their yard, they're like, I gotta kill them. It's like, that's not a good thing. It's like to have them, it's actually like helping to remove bad things out of the soil, right?
It's a symbol that you got good soil.
Oh.
I mean, if like, because we have a lot of native mushrooms here too in the Rockies. There's a lot of things. I am learning that as well. Like that's something that a lot of us didn't realize because we're all growing up in the desert. We're like, oh, it's dry. Why the fuck? But we actually have a lot of Rocky Mountain mushrooms. And it's the ones that grow in our yard. Those are just like regular fucking. You know what I mean? But you're not supposed to eat them. Like sprayed a lot. But also like. Because, I mean, mushrooms mutate. So I need that to be, you know what I mean? Like, they will learn to feed off certain things. You get what I'm saying?
Oh.
That's why I'm getting about the soil remediation because, like, in 1996, there was an instance where they used a type of oyster mushroom to clean up an oil spill that happened. That's what, and you can train, there's a way to train the mycelium, to clean up waste. So that's what's happening. That's what's been happening for the past like little under 20 years. People have been really working on like training mycelium, working with mycelium, getting it to the point where we need this to help clean up the earth.
Which is really important because mycelium is also just like the world's giant data bank. Like anything that's ever happening in the dirt, the mycelium knows and remembers and holds on to and spreads out. So that's like another big deal too. Like the access of data to that is pretty incredible.
That is. I remember I watched this video of like this guy, he had like these little tuners and he like stuck them in the mushrooms and it was making music. I was like, oh, my mind.
Making like electro music. He was like,
that's really cool.
He was like patching the mushrooms.
On the mushroom podcast episode about like that because he talks to a guy who's like one of the big like people in like that kind of world that's learning how to like
communicate with
the mushrooms, and he was kind of it was interesting because he's talking about there's multiple different ways to like access the sound. And like that most people are doing it is kind of actually invasive. Like it sends a charge into the mushroom.
Oh.
And that's like
that makes sense.
And then it's like reverberating sound back. So it's kind of a bit like jarring if you think about
shock to him.
Aggressive. And so I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. I'll have to look it up. But he is like kind of fine-tuning a method where he's like trying to find a way to like basically plug into the sound that doesn't like shock it.
Okay, that makes sense. Because it's all like you can still like as humans like we still don't fully comprehend that like even though we have like mushrooms, trees, and everything that are alive, like for us we're like, oh, it doesn't talk. It's like, no, that's not the point. Like it's still alive. It's still transmitting like energy in some ways. So.
Mycelium is communicating. it's in real time. Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that was like a thing. Like shrooms over here talking to you.
It's the root network. So when you think about like trees, I mean, it's the same thing. Trees have mycelium because there's mushrooms growing out of them. You know what I mean? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what kind, doesn't matter. There's mycelium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Makes
it's all
sense.
communicating. And I am an advocate for people eating mycelium. This is kind of random, but like it just kind of came to my mind because I remember I have a friend who had a friend who grew mushrooms and brown rice, so cultivated mycelium in the brown rice. It's
Oh
not
wow.
actually a way because there's like ways that you cultivate the mycelium in grain spawn. As of right now, Tishina's boiling popcorn to um, uh, cultivate to inoculate to inoculate the popcorn. Popcorn is
Oh wow.
any grains that you use um, to cultivate mycelium. It's food.
Okay.
Mycelium is just a baby. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so then I have a question. Then how do you grow like okay, so from my perspective, it's like with seeds, like for marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of like that, or is it just like how
You said it. So what she's preparing. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, like basically, mushrooms don't have seeds; they have spores, and so what
gotcha.
they would drop their spores. And so in the mycology world, you have multiple different ways to basically take those spores and turn it into mycelium. And so, like if you have a mushroom cap, the cap would open and it's called the veil would break. And once that veil breaks underneath, that's how it lets everything go. So, like, you can take a spore print
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
and then you could either make a liquid culture or what is called agar, which is just like a gelatinous substance that you put nutrient into that your mycelium can feed off of. So you would either put the spores onto the agar and let your mycelium grow out, or you would put liquid culture and let mycelium grow in the liquid culture. And that's what we in the microbe would call our seed bank, because that's a mushroom seed basically. It's the equivalent of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then once you have that, you put it and you inoculate grains. So we use popcorn. You can use rye berries, winter wheat berries. People use a lot of different things. Bird seed. For us, the most successful thing has been popcorn, and
Which is common.
And everyone seems to like it. And so once you have inoculated that jar, so say you have like a mason pint jar full of popcorn, you would inoculate, and I'll show you because I have an example, but your popcorn would go, it starts to get covered in mycelium, which is all white. And then when it's solid white, that's when you plant it and you put it in a substrate.
Let's take him in the lab.
Oh.
Come on.
Come with me.
Come with me. Come with me.
Yeah, this is absolutely fascinating to me.
No, but it's
All right. All right, so this is the lab. Our lab right here. It's our DIY home lab. Jar setup, all that good stuff. Let me turn it around. So this is where we keep our grain jars and our spore library.
Okay.
Right here is the grain that we've been talking about.
This is uninoculated.
So this is uninoculated. So that means that there's been no culture put in here, no label, no nothing. This is the sterilized popcorn, boiled and sterilized. And this is what the culture is going to go in. So this is pre-inoculation, and this is post-inoculation.
So wow.
The mycelium has totally taken over. And this jar's been sitting here for kind of longer than it should be because, we had some things at home. We had no oven, whatever, so we couldn't sterilize anything.
That happens.
But now we have our oven back, so we're back in business. And so this is what it'll look like. And then we'll put it in dirt, which we can show you what we use for our substrate. This is basically
cocoa core.
Yeah, this is cocoa core. We also use a mix of wood pellets and soy hull husks.
Okay.
So you sterilize that, and then this would go in here. You'd break it all in, and then once this would turn all white, that's when you introduce fruiting. So then you basically you introduce more oxygen into the mix, and so once the mycelium is triggered by the oxygen and light, that's how it knows to start fruiting.
Yep.
So
that's that.
Okay. And that's how we get it.
And this is our like our liquid culture that she got from the same area here, and we keep it like nice and cool. Oh my god!
So
woo!
And
This
reishi is aggressive.
Aggressive because decomposers are aggressive because they have to be aggressive to break down that dead material.
I'll show y'all.
So this is, oh my goodness, this is healthy reishi culture, very vibrant, very ready. I mean, and this is it. Like this lasts for like a year, if that. Probably,
you know,
like you, yeah. And this is like this is what you want to do when it comes to like your seed library. When it comes to mycology, you want to build this shit up. Same thing with seeds. That's why we call it seed library, because you got to build that shit up. So you take this and you have your syringe. So you're like, so this is what these are. These are basic like self-healing ports, injection ports. You have your syringe, you pull it up, and then this is the syringe that it usually, you see it has the needle, all that.
Yeah.
You go into the self-injecting port, draw some culture. You want to make sure you actually get some. You see how there's a ton in there? It's fucking crazy. I'm losing my mind. You can even see on top of here that there's mycelium on top of the culture.
Yeah.
It loves it.
That's wild.
You see what I'm saying? So this is what this is agar, the gelatinous material that she was talking about. We have a beautiful shiitake agar clone.
Yep, this is a clone transfer, so you can kind of see maybe in there's like a little blob right here.
Yeah.
And that's an actual piece of shiitake fruit body. Like, we just got it from the store. Cut into the center of it where it hasn't seen any air, and we put that on agar, and it just grows out.
Beautiful.
And so this is also how you can start mycelium growing too. You don't have to have the spores, because some mushrooms don't release spores.
That's right.
So you can actually take a little chunk of the flesh of the fruit and put it on agar, and it'll start to grow out. So we have king oysters happening over here.
Gorgeous.
We got some shiitake going, and we're gonna start experimenting with that. And we just picked this up at the grocery store.
Bam.
Oh, nice.
So this is our setup. We got some babies in here doing their thing, letting them do their thing. This is a flow hood. So this basically helps rid of contaminants in the area, because you want things to be as sterile as possible, especially when you're working. This is what's known as a still air box. As you can see, there's armholes for us to do work. This is typically where we do our inoculating. This is where we do our agar transfers. And
almost like at a science lab where they have like petri dishes and stuff.
Oh yeah, we got some uninoculated agar. Nothing's on here, but it's it's just prepped.
So do you make the agar yourself?
Yeah. So drop that recipe on there.
Yeah. So basically, agar is just made out of what's called agar powder. We use the Telephone brand of agar powder, and I say that specifically because we've tried others and not been successful. So Telephone agar powder, and then we use honey and potato chips, and that's really it. Or we use corn syrup, and you mix it all together and you sterilize it. And sugar, so if you use corn syrup or honey, and the potato flakes, that starch is what the mycelium is
the food.
Off of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this are, and we got our cocoa core, we got loose, we got bricks, and this you just get at the pet store.
Yeah, I use that for my snake.
Yeah, Agent Scully.
Yeah.
So that's it's our little mini lab, man. Gang.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's like the basic, as far as like you know, what mycelium even looks like what. Yeah. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed that little lab tour.
Hell yeah, that was
And right
dope.
now, like I said, oh, thank you. Kashi's sterilizing popcorn. I'm gonna take you up to the pressure cooker.
Okay.
Um,
Hell
basically getting a
yeah,
tour of
that's
the crib
wild
right now.
though.
Um,
That's
so
sick as
yeah,
hell.
this is our pressure cooker. This is where we do all of our sterilizing. Um, you want to make sure everything when you're sterilizing grain and you're sterilizing period. You do want to kill everything.
Yeah.
There's a difference between sterilization and pasteurization. So, the pasteurization station is essentially what Tashi was building right here with this bucket. Um, and that only kills the bad bacteria. So it's a temperature thing. So
Okay.
sterilization is at a very high temperature and it kills every bacteria, everything. There's nothing in it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pasteurization is at a certain temperature. It's only going to kill what needs to be killed. So you still retain some bacteria that's good for, you know, because you need
Certain things.
microbiomes. Microbiomes
Yeah.
let you know that you're living in a healthy environment, healthy soil. So that's what Bay built. And yeah, we got the buckets for the oyster mushrooms. One reason is that it's environmentally sound than the plastic bag. So that plastic bag that she showed you with that soil in it, that cocoa core,
Yeah.
that's cool and all, and people do that. But this is more environmentally sound.
You can reuse it.
You can reuse it, right? You're not throwing away a bunch of plastic and choking a fucking turtle. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I
Minus
mean?
frogs up their nose, poor
Bruh,
thing.
frog jumping up in the bag, like, you know.
Oh
So
my god.
yeah, it's just quite violent. Uh, but yeah, that's just how we're doing it right now. Feeling real good. Well, hopefully when we talk, you know, later, we'll get to show y'all the fruits. Yeah. Right now, they're in like incubation stage. So they kind of just need like a lot of darkness, need a lot of just like rest, to help get that mycelium like really get it embedded in the soil. Because
Yeah.
basically after that process, after like inoculation and after like the mycelium takes over, because I don't really like to use the word colonize.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not our favorite term.
I don't really, you know, it doesn't really roll off the tongue very well. So I like to say like, oh, it's just myceliating the situation. You know what I'm saying? It's taking over. So when it starts eating up all that grain, and it's ready, you sterilize your substrate, whatever that may be. It could be the wood pellets, right? We're using cocoa core, which is cocoa husk. So it's coconut husk material, and yeah, you sterilize that. You have some people have like a bin, so like a little what they call like shoe boxes or what have you. Um, put the soil in, mix it all up with the grain. It's all myceliated and all that shit's got it's all, you know, because and then you put another layer. So you're recreating that environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That soil outside environment. And what we have in our
Nice.
is we got like a heat setup. We got like little mats and like basically like little reptile pads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
yeah, yeah. Also, you can also get seedling mats. So so seedling mats are like, yeah. So we have a seedling mat, but you could use like a reptile pad or a seedling mat.
Okay.
Reptile pad
Just something to keep it incubated, more or less.
up. Period. Because like I said, they have to. It's recreating that earth. So
Yeah.
the earth is warm. You know, it's humid. It's got moisture. It's not like saturated, but it.
Yeah.
I learned like first thing that I learned about like moisture, about like watering the mushrooms basically is like you want it to be like a fresh rainfall. Like when you get them in the bin, it's just like a nice like dewy, you know what I'm saying? It just had a nice rainfall. You don't want it to be like soaked, but you just want a nice soil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that shit.
So because they're not like regular plants where you can just like get your little water thing. They're like, ha 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 ha.
Cool about mushrooms is that they're like a hybrid of human and plant. Period. They're a hybrid of animal and plant.
Oh.
Yeah, biologically they come from like what is it? Chirotes, something like that. Eurychirotes. I might be saying that name wrong, but basically that's animals, you know. And
Well, I guess if they're decomposers, I guess it kind of makes sense because they're like eating
they're alive.
from, yeah.
They're alive, and they're fungi. Like fungi eats up yeast is a fungi. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that like we got biomes all up in us. That's why mushrooms are good for us. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
we go hand in hand. We're just bacteria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Just a stack of bacteria.
Um,
That's what's up though.
it's really cool. They're not plants like, and they're not animals. They are fungi. They are who they are.
They're their own thing,
They're
more
all
or less. I think that's why I find him fascinating too, because yeah, like I mean, I know this is like off topic, but I would play Plants vs. Zombies a lot.
yeah.
And when you play that game, they don't let you get the mushrooms until it's dark. Like they won't let them out like for the day. And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You said they have to be in the dark. I was like, huh, all right, that explains it now.
What's funny about that is like also when I was first learning was actually mushrooms need a lot of light. They need way more light than you think. You know, they
Oh
need
wow.
incubating. They need the darkness because you
Yeah.
know what I mean. The light would just fucking sizzle them up.
Yeah.
But when you're fruiting, when you're like in fruiting conditions, they need that light. It's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're hybrids almost.
They're just they just do their own thing. You know what I mean?
I
But
dig it. I
like
dig it.
no, but you do your research, you know, and you learn what each one needs, and you're like, oh, okay, there's some similarities here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you
Because
just
all of them
trust.
grow like in different substrates or different type of like conditions. Like
Some of them
essentially they
don't. Some of them grow all the same. That's what I was saying earlier. Like when you're wanting to grow like active mushrooms, like they pretty much grow all the same.
okay.
They all grow active. Like just get them in the coco core. You know what I mean? It's just some grow more aggressively. Some need
Yeah.
more time, some don't. You know what I mean? With the inactive,
Okay.
we've had success growing in the coco core, but yeah, just understanding like they like wood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's their jam. You know what I mean?
Well, it's common in nature, so I don't blame them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like I said, the same thing with the active mushrooms. They grow in the soil. They grow, like for example, liberty caps, are like they're like long, skinny. They grow in like marshes. They grow, you know what I mean? They grow in like wetland. You
Okay.
have Rocky Mountain mushrooms. They grow in like the little like rock coves like in the mountains. They kind of just grow in like little nooks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have lichens, so you have the lichen fungi, and every single person, even the one person that's watching this, has seen that little green stuff that's grown on rocks.
Uh-huh.
Type of fungus. And so that's yeah,
I
that's
thought that was moss.
exactly right. Same, but fungus. You know, so everyone grows differently, different places. However, when you're talking about indoor cultivation, it is you got to find like a formula. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all you have to like I said, you're recreating the environment, but you also have to understand like, okay, I got these two substrates. You know what I'm saying? Know your environment. Like if you
Yeah.
can't grow this, you know you don't have this to grow. Don't even fucking think about it. Just get you the fucking cocoa core, get you the wood pellets, and just stick with growing oysters. Stick with growing the one type. You know what I mean?
Until you figure it out.
Yeah, until you figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Thankfully, we've experimented with like active and inactive, so we've gotten to a point where like, okay, we can grow both of these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So
Hell yeah.
it's just a matter of timing. You know what I mean? Because and like right now, so depending on the size of your lab. So our lab is like pretty. It's pretty. Do you think big
for a home lab? I think
Facts.
it's
Pretty big, right? So we can grow we can grow different types, at least up to like as we're thinking about like if we're thinking about different types of mushrooms, we're thinking about active and inactive. Like we grow about 3 or 4 different types of strains. You know what I mean?
Nice.
However, we'd have to time that differently because each one has kind of like different humidities. It's weird. You know what I mean? Like they require a certain type of humidity as a whole. However, period. Like, so lion's mane, for example, a certain type of humidity will allow those tendrils. So you ever seen a lion's mane in nature, like a picture of it?
No.
It's long tendrils, which is why it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, look that up. Because it looks like a lion. In the store, they just look like cute little puffballs because, you know, that could also be a different type of lion's mane too. So
yeah,
forgive me for going all over the place, but
no, you're fine.
You know, it's you know, they got different kinds. So the reason why it even grows like that is just because of the humidity. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the humidity adjustment and the temperature adjustment coming together creates a certain type of aesthetic. You see?
Yeah.
Humans come into play a lot of times when it comes to growing and aesthetics. You know, you wouldn't sell a regular Karen, the type of lion's mane that I'm talking about, because it doesn't really look appealing. It looks like.
So here's the difference. Like, I'll show you. You can kind of see it's just like a puff.
Okay. A little puffball. You're right.
Like on this next page, it shows you one that's a bit longer. So sorry,
in nature. No, go ahead, love. You're good.
So those.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Wow, they look like weeping willows.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. Or even see this. This is closer to what we cultivate. It's even smaller teeth and just looks like a puffball.
Yeah, which is more.
Yeah. It's like a cheese curd.
Yep, it does look like a cheese curd. Way more common. So yeah, again, it just depends on humidity, temperature. Some like it a little cooler, some like it a little hotter.
Yeah.
It's really, I know I'm making it sound super like nuanced, but it's important to remember that if you're going to cultivate, because when you run into those issues, because you will run into these issues of contamination or of like aesthetics, you know. Mm-hmm. My lion's mane look pink as fuck. Why does it look pink?
Yeah.
Oh, the humidity, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Too low. Mm-hmm. Right? You know, so.
Or sometimes, like when you're cultivating inside, when your lion's mane first start out, they'll have like a browning to them, and it because of the moisture. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the moisture like is sitting on top of the mushroom, and as it grows, lighter. But sometimes it's like. It's one of those things to note because, like, when you're cultivating, if you see strange colors, like, your mycelium should be pretty and white, but if you see yellowing or bluing or greening or, like,
something wrong,
it's kind of contamination. But then you kind of have to know, like, so mycelium, if it's in a space, this happens often, like, if it's in a jar for too long before you plant it, it'll start to, like, get yellow and weird. And it's essentially, like, the mycelium... It's like how, you know, we got to use the bathroom, right? We got to, like, let go of all the stuff that we've taken in. The mycelium's doing that. It's, like, kind of peeing.
Yeah,
which isn't necessarily bad.
No, go ahead.
But, you know, when you're cultivating, you could think it's a contaminant when really it's just like, nah, you got to get this in the dirt and let it grow.
Yeah, it's like telling you, like, hey, it's my time.
Yeah. So, like, that jar that we showed you, it's actually at the perfect stage right now, you know? You would... Yeah. Little bit before it gets like that. However, that happens, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not out of the ordinary. But if we were to let it go like another few days, it would start to metabolize. So that means the so it starts to like, oh, I'm in this fucking jar, like, you know what I mean?
Free me.
Yeah, free me.
Yeah. That's what's up. So it's just like, that's cool. It's like, depending on the color, depending on what type it is, you can tell what it's going through and what it needs so that it can flourish. That's pretty dope. I never known this much about shrooms.
You open up that jar and it smells like
that good mycelium.
Fuck. It
smells like dirt and earth, and it smells like it's just the
earth.
You can
see. You'll know. You'll be like, ooh, damn, that smells like medicine.
I told somebody that once. Like, they thought I was tripping because it was like during the summer, like. Yeah, during the summer-ish at night, and like it smelled like fungus outside, and I was like, man, it smelled like mushrooms, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like,
it smells like
can't smell that.
But like, if it's all, you'll know when it smells off. It smells like sour. It already looks funny, like So it's just like, it's a battle of the fungus. You know what I'm saying? And like sometimes you can just like scrape it on off on the top. If it's just on the top, you just like scrape it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you don't want to waste that whole jar, you know, because a lot of times it's all experimentation too. You're like, okay, let me just scrape the top, and let me just see what happens. You know what I'm saying? I might end up with a healthy fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even like whenever we've used like rye berries and stuff, I have found that rye berries tend to go bad faster. And so like when you have a jar, the moisture of course settles at the bottom. So the bottom can sometimes start to rot out, but the top is healthy. So if you can just isolate the bit that's good, you can still save something and keep going, which is like wild too. It's like kind of like cheese when you cut the moldy part off, but the rest of the block is still good.
Period. Yeah. Also is what you would do when you have your bins. So like when you're beginning the mycelium process in the bins with the soil, you're going to have a case of contaminants at some point. And just like Tishina was saying, like you literally, depending on where it is, what it is, because sometimes you just got to throw the whole thing away. But most cases, it's just kind of like in a corner, you know what I mean? And you cut it out. You just cut it out, spray with a little hydrogen peroxide, and, you know, let it live on, you know. A lot more, like I said, most cases, that just does the trick. Some cases, it might spread, you know what I mean? You just kind of have to, like, flip the coin on that one and just trust your instinct.
So in the instance that you do have, like, contamination happen and, like, you don't want it to happen where it happened, how do you decontaminate the area for sure?
Yeah.
Like, in that case.
Right. So like I was saying, when it comes to like the isolated point of like the bins, you cut out that, you isolate it, cut it out, spray with hydrogen peroxide, really just as best as you can. You know what I mean? You don't have to do the whole fucking thing, but just that area, because that'll kill.
So sorry to cut you off, but like say for example in the bucket, right? You know, you have it in the bucket and say like just one little tiny part of the bucket is contaminated. You only remove that part. You're not removing anything else.
You just remove that hydrogen. You got to treat it like you. It's you. So you have an open sore.
You clean it up.
Clean it up with the hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
All that shit out. You know what I mean? Now, if you have just like if you just have like a contamination like issue, start the fuck over.
Yes.
Just alcohol, just everything, like wipe down your tent, clean the area. Alcohol, like alcohol is your best friend. Isopropyl alcohol, 70%, not 90, is your best friend.
Should we tell them why 70%, not 90?
You go ahead.
Basically the only difference is like the 70% alcohol does have more water in it, so it doesn't evaporate as fast, which means the solution that's killing everything sits on the surface for a long time. So like, you know how most of the time you see people spray something, wipe it, you kind of want to spray, let it set for a minute.
Yeah.
All work, and then, you know, wipe the things off.
That makes sense.
Actually, just like the 90% is a little too strong for cleaning.
Okay.
Yeah. And like something that we've learned, so this was, we were having like the beginning of the year, really, we've been struggling with contamination and I couldn't figure it out. I didn't understand. We were doing everything like, you know, by the book, to the T, sterilizing, whatever. And I kept getting, it's called, in the mycology world, it's called trix or trichoderma. And trichoderma is just another bacteria. It's a moldy, bluish green fungus. And one of the supplements for mushrooms is gypsum. And if you're just getting like gypsum from a nursery, oftentimes it's injected with trichoderma on purpose because it's good for your plants. It's good for gardening. It's good for flowers, but it's not good for mushrooms.
Yeah.
And of course it's the biggest bag. It's like a 50-pound bag of gypsum that I got at the and I found out that it's bad. And I was like, oh, so that's it. And this is kind of like our first round of growing, eliminating the gypsum.
And holy shit,
everything's beautiful. We haven't had the contamination. And it's like, it was, you know, we've been doing this for about a year and a half. And in the beginning, I was having great success. We were having great success. And it was just like, this is awesome. Like beginner's luck, it felt like. Because then I introduced gypsum. And it all went to shit. And I was like, why? It's not supposed to do that. And so that's been a learning curve too. And so, you know, you have to like, you don't know that until you know that, right? Or you stumble upon the you're like, Fascinating.
That's what's up,
So
though.
that's the whole journey. You just a lot of trial and error.
Hell yeah, I love it. Well, I have one more. Well, I guess it's one more question for a whole question. But we were talking about like, remember we were talking about like psychedelics and marijuana and like legalization.
Yeah.
And you said that you were like looking over the laws of like, you know, legalization for psychedelics. So like how, like what steps would you have to take for something like that? Are there different parameters because it's not necessarily like regulated?
As far as like, because right now we're going into decriminalization. So
Yeah.
making it
Here in Colorado, right? Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
legalizing it.
Basically, decriminalization for us right now just basically means that if you have an ounce or less, you can't get in trouble for it. That doesn't, as a grower, it doesn't protect you in any way, really. And so, like, right now, like, lawyer up. Just and it's like it's a fine line of like kind of like mimicking almost like the marijuana industry and how they started to legalize. But even then, it's like, you know, as beautiful as it is to just be able to go to the dispensary, we've also seen the commercialization and how bad that is for the product. And
yeah.
People are still in prison.
People are still in prison. You know,
they're taxing the fuck out of everything that's weed. Everything's cannabis. It's like,
and just the rules behind it. And so there's actually a company in like the mushroom world. It's called Compass, and they are prevalent more so overseas where people have a lot more freedoms with the mushrooms. But they're actually trying to patent how you can have like a clinical psychedelic, you know,
nice.
patent it.
They're trying to patent it, and that's really dangerous because
patenting, yes.
Independent practitioners can't do anything. Can't trips
because they'll have to go by what they've patented in order for them to try to like get everything in.
Like this about their standards that they even have it in the rules, like what kind of room it has to be, neutrals, all blank and fucking boring, very clinical. And it's just like that for me takes away from what the actual like experience is, where it's like, well, I mean, it's medicine, so you're not just doing this lightly, you're doing it because we got some fucking collective shit that we got to work on internally, all around, energetically. And like, if you've ever like really been on a very strong trip, then like, you know that like being in a fucking brown box is not it. Like, it's not it. You need to be able.
You about to flip. You about to flip.
You know, and I think it should be up to the person to set their environment. It's not like you can't leave that to someone else. Again, and like the other part of it too, like with all the medicines, it's becoming very like controlled by the system, you know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to break out of.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, like how marijuana is like. They were talking about, I had read this article with them talking about how they wanted to try to like legalize it on a federal level, and I was like, no, because y'all are just gonna ruin it. Like, if you legalize marijuana, say it again.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was saying like you already. That's what we were talking about. It's the same thing. If it gets to that point, it's going to be the same thing with cannabis. What's happening is going to be commodified. No one's going to get released from prison.
Nope.
So it's not going to. It's going to affect the indigenous communities that are cultivating the medicine, like it already.
Yeah, because you're going to want to go into the land and try to take over it because they see profit.
Have entitlement to go. You know, same thing is going to happen. However, that's why when people are like, "Oh, do you want to help decriminalize mushrooms?" It's kind of like, who's it affecting though? Like I do, but also like how is it how and who is it affecting?
Yeah.
To your question, like there's a lot more research to do. Like we've just barely cracked the surface. And you know, it's a fine line to navigate because obviously, like, you know, we have, for us and our intentions, it's really, we want to be medicine makers. Like I feel good and healthy and better, and like this is something that's really doing something for them to like lift their spirit. Like, depressive cycle that everyone is in right now, everyone's anxiety roof. No one can like focus on anything because the world's crazy right now.
Yeah.
Doing shit like regular, and it's just like everything is just blowing up globally, and so it's like it's just a fine line of like, I don't fucking care what these people say. I'm gonna do this shit because it's needed, and also like I'm a fucker in prison because of whatever I'm doing. That's for by people,
right?
And that's why I said that's why it's so wild, because it's all like, you know, it is like federally, like they try to criminalize things that are natural, and it doesn't make any sense, because it's all like, you know, you said like if they patent it, then it's like once they patent it, everything's out the window, and it's all like it starts to take away from people who are doing it for the purpose of healing versus people who are doing it for profit. You know what I mean?
Also, the problem with it too is it's gonna make it super unaccessible to people that don't have tens of thousands of fucking dollars, because so we have like ketamine sessions. If we look at clinical ketamine sessions, they're $3,000 for a 1 hour fucking session. Now mushroom sessions, they don't last just an hour. You could be there for time, and you can't charge $3,000 an hour for that. No one can fucking afford it. So then it becomes elitist, and it's like you took it away and you're hoarding it and monopolizing it, and like this is why it's not gonna work, guys. It's not gonna work like that. And so it's just like it's finding the right people who are fighting and advocating for this in the right way, and it's learning from people who are already kind of like ahead of us in that field. And it's just right now it's a lot. It's kind of overwhelming, but you know, as we get bigger, it's definitely going to be like there's strong focus, because we want to be able to provide and protect ourselves.
And it can't be avoided. I mean, mushrooms, years. So it's kind of like just kind of get into it. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
we can't fight it.
So no, we can't. I mean, we are fungi. We have literal microbiomes in our bodies. So like, it's what's communicating to us. That's why we take mushrooms. That's why we eat them. All of it. You know what I mean? Because they've been here and they're always going to be here. And if we don't work with them, they're going to take us over. So
yeah, that's very true.
And not like they're going to take us over, but it's like we're gonna just die. I mean, we're all gonna die anyway, but it's like
you're gonna go back to the place from which you came, which is the earth. So
period. So we can at least break death. You know what I mean? Like, you know, bro, see you when I see you. But what can we do as a team to, you know, make this a smooth transition?
Yeah.
I want it to be, you know what I mean? I want to be nice and old, you know, and like
so funny.
Like hella white hair too.
Hella
out here.
Hella oil.
Fuck yes.
I mean,
and partying.
You know what I mean?
Y'all are funny.
You know.
But yeah. No, that's what's up. But y'all are doing, like, y'all always doing that good work though. Because people just really don't understand how natural medicines have been around for so long. Like I told my mom today, what's wild to me is that like all these diseases that are popping up and these disorders and things, and I was like, what's wild is like people didn't have this back then. People weren't riddled with all these things. Gosh, everybody wants to call me right now. They'll wait. But yeah, I was like, that's just wild to me that it's all like people criminalize or they vilify things they don't understand, and are things that have been around forever. You know what I mean?
Like the propaganda that's happened behind all of these things, because like the history, especially of psychedelic research, is wild, because like in the 30s and 40s and 50s, when shit was really like there was actual money going into the research of this, and then this like you saw the result of people actually using this. So like the 60s and the 70s came, and those were huge revolutionary times in the world. And then that's when they started decriminalizing, shutting down all the research and funding that went into it, and trying to make it go away. And so it didn't start happening again until like the 80s and 90s, when people were like, this was happening. They know this, and they've been hiding it. And so they had all this propaganda around it, the war on fucking drugs. And so people are stuck in that mindset, especially like we're lucky in our generation, we're starting to fucking see shit, and we have greater access to like information that most people didn't have before. And so
Yeah.
they see like the enlightening happening and they're like, oh shit, can't control people when they're free fucking thinkers, now can you? And by people that have been so programmed by society and the world, and like they're more quick to trust pharmaceuticals, the doctor, like the big pharma's the
because
biggest
it was
money
the doctor.
killer.
It was the doctor who created that propaganda around mushrooms because kids, fucking young people, were going out and fucking going out and picking these mushrooms and just eating them. Somebody had to eat them, okay, for us
Yeah.
to know. So God bless those people. However, we're getting fucking sick and going to the doctor, and these doctors are like, oh, well, it was the fucking and it's like, because they got to pump their stomach and they got to do. So now you got these doctors with these experiences, and they're like, the doctors are probably like already like 40, 50 years old. So they're already from a whole nother time.
Oh, yeah.
Whole nother generation. And they're like, well, these kids. And so then you got this motherfucker who just ate these mushrooms and is now hearing this propaganda. It's like, I ain't never eat mushrooms again. So it's like, it's a collective of like the big pharma, and you got the people who are being affected by the big pharma, and you got it all like, so now there's this negative connotation. So there's negative connotation around mushrooms, and you think that you're going to fucking go fucking flip out, and you're going to like
go get wild.
like your life's gonna turn to your tapestry, like you know, not
right.
It's bruh, gonna be your life might look like this painting. You might look like that, but you know what? You never know. You know,
you don't.
Gotta fuck around and find out. You know. So yeah.
Well, and that's what I was saying. When I had watched, it was like this movie. Actually, it wasn't a movie. It was like a mini series where like these people, they had like health issues, or just like issues in general, and they went to like this resort kind of thing, and they didn't know that they were slowly being dosed with like shrooms. Like they were slow dosing them. Nice. But like by the end, it's like all the things that were wrong with them, like they started to fix it because of microdosing. Yes. And that's why I said, like, that's what makes it crazy to me that, like, you know, the government, doctors, these people, they see what it does. They see it. They have the knowledge. They have everything documented. And because they cannot get profit or fucking turn it into a commodity, they're like, oh, well, since we can't make profit off of it's evil, we're going to vilify it, and we're going to make sure that nobody does it. And it's like, so when you do have like the small few amount of people who are like, no, that's wrong, this is what's really going on, like they really go out of their way to like push the propaganda to be like, no, like this person's a wackadoo, don't pay them no mind, shrooms are going to kill you. It's like, no, it's not.
Just to like finalize that, you know, it's because you think about, it's about placating. Commodity is a placator. Mm-hmm. It's not actually about resolution or healing or cure. Like, oh, here's this little pill, this aspirin that we got from the same tree that if you drank the bark, you'd feel like 100% better. You know what I mean? Fucking ibuprofen has fucking turmeric in it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Commodification. Yeah. Only it's the placebo effect. It's just like made to make you feel better, but it's not actually doing.
That's what I said about like how our food is now, which I found amazing, because there was somebody I was talking to once upon a time, and they were a vegan, and they're like, well, why won't you try to be a vegan? I'm a vegan. I'm all like, but one, do you know where your food's coming from? Two, if you're eating stuff that you're heating up in a microwave, you can't be very vegan, because it's all like, why do you eat stuff out of a microwave is my question.
Vegan, or you say this thing, it doesn't mean that it's healthy, because I know a lot of vegans that fucking still eat the same processed bullshit fake meat products, and it's like, well, it's not healthy for you either. It's still weird stuff, dude. What is that? You
fucking pressed bullshit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just like, and again, like, it's a tough one too, because veganism right now is another thing blowing the fuck up, and it feels very politically driven, because it's just like, I mean, yeah, literally, it's easier to grow a fuck ton of plants somewhere than it is to raise livestock, and we're running out of shit, and everything's going bad. So, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, proper nutrition and proper fucking taking care of yourself is not promoted. Nobody wants you to know about it. Everything is quick and
it's modified.
You know?
It's made, it's like, oh, look at this yoga trip, and it's like the skinniest white chick ever. It's like, what, bro?
Like, get out of here.
Like, you're trying to convince me to be healthy by this woman,
and she don't look too
healthy against her, but I don't look like that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. They give people,
my body doesn't look like that.
and it's not. And people don't understand that. Like we were talking about it on the podcast last time, where it's how like people need to start paying attention to their bodies. Like not everybody heals the same. Not everybody's body reacts to the same medicine the same way. Right. Like you have to listen to your body in order for you to figure out what you need to heal yourself. You can't just be like, oh, like the doctor's like, but the doctor's telling the same thing to everybody who comes in the office.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Some people, like, again, everybody's different. And then even that is an exercise for some people. Like telling people to just listen to their body. A lot of people don't even know how to sit with themselves, let alone
that's true.
Enough to be able to listen. And
that's true.
And then once you get in tune with that and you're like, holy shit, I feel fucking weird. Now what?
Awkward. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yeah, that's the start.
That's sad, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we have to clean that out. We have to degunk that, and we have to remind you. Like placation again isn't just medicines, it's everything that we do. It's our social media. It's like the fucking computer tablet that we have in our face. Yep. Most people aren't using it for whatever. It's just like it's a blare so that you can check out. Mm-hmm. And like right now, a lot of people want to be numb. I don't blame them.
It's sad. It is true. A lot of and that's what I was sitting there saying to my mom. I was like, it's sad because it's like I feel like they do things intentionally to desensitize us or to try to desensitize us. And then once we're desensitized, then they're like, oh, well, you're just heartless because you don't care. It's like, no, bitch. That's what you wanted. Like, you wanted me here.
I can't deal with it anymore. Yeah.
I know. It's a crazy. I told my mom, I was like, the psychosis of living in America is like, it's really less what I had told Coco. I was like, it's called drapetomania. I was like, that's what we have. Like, that's what they, like, indoctrinated us to be like. They sit here and make you crazy on purpose. Say it again.
But this country got Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
They love their captor.
Because they are abusing everybody in this country. Like, there are, like, you can see that certain ethnicities are, you know, discriminated against more than others. But overall, the people who are supposed to have our well-being, you know, in mind, don't give a shit about none of us. They're only worried about them and their other little rich friends. So it's all like, if the whole world is burning, why are we still fighting against each other? My question.
Literally. And that's like, you know, collectively, we all have to fucking agree and get on the same page.
Agree to disagree about whatever the fuck you think is important. And yes, agree on the fact that we're all living on Earth and we don't.
There's nowhere else to go. Like last time I checked.
Right.
You know, and it's just like, it's just wild. You sit there and think about all of it. And, you know, fucking, I don't know if y'all have seen the advertisements for the Space Force military.
Oh.
And, you know, you're sitting there and they're talking about, like, having fucking basically space vacation where you can just go shoot up and hang out. And it's like, our money and our resources collectively are going to that when, like, our water's fucking poisoned. Our Earth is about to fucking die and implode. People don't have what they need, you know? Stupid shit.
And we're just like, go on vacation.
Yeah.
We want to go to Mars and go have a nice little vacation on the friggin' mountains. Like,
oh, yeah.
That, you know, but no fucking shit to feed them because most fucking women that I know can't breastfeed. It is very rare you hear somebody who can actually do it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what's wild that you say that, and then they have this whole thing going on with, like, the breast or the milk shortage, the infant shortage or whatever. Yeah. But I was like, I remember when I had my kids, a lot of women were like, oh my gosh, they're like, you actually are able to breastfeed. I was like, I was really confused because I was like, is that not like a thing? Like, I thought that's what these were for.
a lot of women, like, a lot of people smoke cigarettes. A lot of people drink. A lot of people, you know what I mean?
Just putting poisons in their body, so it's not helping.
And alone on women caretaking for their own babies, like, it's like, oh, I just gotta get them some Similac. A lot of babies are Similac babies. I'm a breastfed baby. My mom. So no, it's not like that. No, but it's just but it's like they're just like, that's not. It's kind of funny to say, but that's not the instinct to go. It's like, oh, let me breastfeed my baby. They're like, they get for a minute, but then it's like, oh, let me give them the formula. You know?
Yeah.
So,
or you have like, she was like, I tried, I couldn't. What happened? So it's
because also like and like, I mean, who the fuck knows what shorties are eating? You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
And it's just like from generation to generation, it's just like misinformation, and then you have us where it's like we're trying to get as close as we can to the real information. You know, when you kind of like take it with a grain of salt, because resources and where you're getting it from, and it's so easy to manipulate shit in this world, and you know, things are all digital.
You know, that's crazy you speak on that. I said that the other day.
What'd you say?
No, I was just saying it's crazy, like Tishina speaking on like how they like destroy information and stuff like that. And I was thinking on that the other day. I was like, it's wild because it's all like you had them putting stories on tablets, which was made out of clay. They broke those, so you know, can't ever find out information there.
Mm-hmm.
And then things were documented on paper or papyrus or things of that nature. And then you had people burning it. And then I was like, now you have things in digital format which can be deleted and never to be traced again. So it's like,
in a way,
it's crazy. Yeah, I guess in a way. I don't know much about digital stuff, but
totally deleted. However, like, there's a cloud, one, and two, you have people on the inside that are like recording those documents, might have it on a backdrop. I learned that, and this is like kind of irrelevant, but it's exactly like, it's relevant in the sense that there's always going to be this person. The only reason why Toy Story 2 even got put out was because, so the whole thing got deleted somehow. Like the whole, the crashed. It hadn't even been backed up in like 6 months. The only reason it got released is because one of the people that worked on it was on like maternal leave and had the movie on her external drive.
Wow.
The only reason why. Whole reason. So there's always gonna be,
that would have been a bitch. That's like nothing. That's weird information to know, but I'm glad I know it now. Thanks. That's crazy.
Welcome to millennials, being a millennial. But it's relevant. You're like, damn, there's always gonna be a motherfucker out there that's keeping this information alive. You know what I mean? That's why the hard data is important. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's all good and well that you can make a beat on the goddamn computer and you can record in your computer. However, if you don't have fucking hard material, and I ain't even showing you my task cam. Oh, here it is, right here. If you don't have something hard to put it on, you're out of. It's the same thing with everything that we're dealing with right now, with what she's talking about. Like you were just talking about. Like, I just watched this movie from the 90s, and everyone was shredding documents. Remember that, where, you know what I mean? You have a top secret information, and everyone
had they shred machines just tearing shit up.
I mean, that's where we're at in a digital form. You know what I mean? You can't, but however, you can't get rid of the digital that easy. You think that,
That's true.
It's in the cloud. It's in the cloud and it's accessible. You know?
Yeah.
The right brainy motherfucker to get at it. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Like, I think like the age that we're moving into is like, none of this is gonna be swept under the rug because it's too far gone. You know?
That's how I feel. I love that you say that.
Urges with the mushrooms because, like I said, 65 million years. That's the reason why we have sayings, y'all, is because they are true. They actually have a truth to them. So history repeating itself actually happens. Literally. We are in.
It's doing it right now.
Of what is it? Fucking Pluto retrograde. And fucking that means that we're going right back into what happened when Rome fell.
Oh, wow.
I want to say this, though, as an encouragement, because when you think about it, even though history repeats itself, that doesn't mean that we have to follow the same protocol. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it repeats itself, and that's just universal. That's just like hermetics, law of correspondence, just always going to find its way back. That again, that doesn't mean we have to repeat the same protocol. That just means like
it just means that we're in a really dope and interesting time because
we get to observe it again.
The systems as we know it are crumbling, and it again, this is where the collective fucking shit comes together because we got to be loud enough to be like, yeah, this shit's crumbling, and this is what we need to see next.
Because we've already seen what happens when no one rallies up and no one's doing anything.
Yep.
So now we're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and do something about it because again, this is the only place. This is the only Earth I've ever known. I never known no other. So
I ain't lived on no other planet.
It's all good and well, but I'm here on Earth, so I understand that like this is the only motherfucking, you know.
Yeah, right.
The only way you're gonna live and actually live comfortably, to the extent, well, because we're all creating the world that we want to live in, right? So the only way that you're going to be living comfortably is if you abide by Earth standards and by Earth rules. Yep. And what she requires is care, care from individuals, each person. Yeah. She's not going to punish the people that are doing the work. I got it there. Yeah. We all got our own things that we're dealing with, whatever, our own magnetism. However, when it comes to like what's the work being put into her, those are the people that are protected, Yep. It's clear what's happening to everything else that isn't. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what I said. That's what I always tell Adonis. I'm all like, as long as you have good intentions for the earth, the universe, like good shit will come to you. I was like, nobody's perfect, but it's like as long as like your mission is not one of maliciousness towards the earth or the energy of the earth, I feel like you'll always be fine. And it's like when people who, like you said, people go in like contaminating the water and doing all this other ridiculous shit. And it's all like, but it's wild because it's like we all have to drink this.
Literally. Bruh, I just like, that is the most basic fucking, I'm like, y'all know this is the only water that's been here. It's gonna be here, right?
And you have
the only water
shit going on where Walmart's buying up all the fucking aquifers. Why?
Oh, wow.
Why?
See,
moment of silence for that shit, right? Okay, let it ring true. Because it's a commodity.
It's a commodity,
and that's the wildest.
And they know that they can control people. It's another.
They know they're the only ones. It's only 3 people with money. It's only the same 2-3 people with the money.
It is always.
They know.
And then people are always like surprised when they like see these companies and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know it was owned by one of the top 10 percenters." Like, please slap yourself.
I know. How do you not know?
And motherfuckers still drinking Nestle water.
Yeah.
How you drinking that?
How you fucking?
How you drink Aquafina knowing that it's owned by Nestle?
And Dasani, any of it. No.
And there you are with your plastic fucking bottle, bitch. You drinking water, but you drinking out of a plastic bottle.
I mean,
now, I understand sometimes shit happens and you buy a fucking bottle of water. However,
water's, yes.
It's just
but like, you can taste it.
You can taste it. And then again, we're talking about health. Like,
you can taste it. You can taste the metal.
I remember I read this article they were talking about, like, this guy did like an experiment more or less and had like put somebody's like blood, like a drop of their blood under a microscope. Ooh. And he saw that there was like plastic filaments in that's in our blood. I was like, well, no shit. Like, what do you think food is? Like, what do you think it is when you get a vaccine? Like, when shit's burning in the air, like, come on, bruh.
Step in it.
It's all in
Of course it made its way into our bloodstream. I mean, if it's in our body in any kind of capacity, like plastic, like that's what people don't understand about plastic or understand about things that are man-made. They're like, oh, well, we can burn them. It's like, no, you can't. It's not natural to the earth. So if you burn it, you're going to like fuck shit up.
You're not supposed to be
making shit worse.
Bonfires are
no.
Not just any wood, yes. You can't, you're supposed to be burying the wood. If it's dead, bury the wood. Bury the wood. That's how it's made. That's how shiitakes are made. You gotta when you're cultivating reishi, you gotta bury the wood. Yeah. Don't burn your fucking wood. The point is you want more carbon in the earth, not in the air.
Yeah.
fucking hole in the ozone layer because everything's been getting burned. Motherfuckers been having bonfires. Shit, we've been a part of it. That's why we're fucking hot about it. We're like, what?
Yeah.
That information. We're like, no, we're not gonna sit up here and be like, I've known this information forever. However, when
we found out,
it was like, fuck that. And you remember?
Yeah, we gotta make changes.
Period. You remember when we were younger and motherfuckers would be like, plant, you know, what is it? Plant a tree, save the, you know what I'm saying? That shit was real because what have we learned known our whole life? Plants give us oxygen, kids.
Mm-hmm.
So off knowing that, you're like, oh, the reason why we were told to plant trees is that so that we could have more oxygen and carbon in the air, in the soil. I mean, more carbon in the soil so that we can have more oxygen in the air. You see what I'm saying? And
hell yeah,
you know what I mean? And so that's why, you know, everyone, you know, this whole mushroom kick is going off because motherfuckers want to, at least I can speak for us. We want to learn more about mushrooms and how to heal people so that we can heal the earth. Because medicine in the people, then we'll start to wise up and we'll start to be like, oh, I have, this is the skill that I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like not everyone's going to have the same job all the time either. You know what I'm saying? Hi, baby. So with that, we get more medicine in the people. People start to realize, oh, this is my skill set. This is what I can do for the community. And the community, the actual commune, your literal surroundings of people. It's not some fucking community. It's literally that you communicate with. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
That you communicate with.
Who you eating with.
Who you eating with, period.
Yep. Because you can't eat with everybody, that's for sure.
That's what, like, cultivating.
You can't eat everybody's food.
It's about the medicine. It's all medicine. Whether, because I'm gonna just break it down real quick in my personal, like, in perspective of mushrooms. And you take the active mushrooms because you need to think. You need to open up some things. You need to break some shit down. You got to get rid of some shit. Now, when you get rid of that shit, then you start ingesting more mushrooms, more reishi, maybe more turkey tails, more, you know what I'm saying? Fucking chagas, you know what I'm saying? Which isn't a mushroom. That's a whole nother thing. That's some nerd shit. But I'm saying you start ingesting more and you're doing more for your body. And you're like, oh shit. Because the active mushrooms is what makes you start tripping out about, like, it's not even the trip itself. You be there 3 months later and you're like, why am I eating this burger? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's not even about the burger. Mm-hmm. Like the type of, you're like, for example, say you just been eating meat just all the time. Now, we eat meat. However, we're plant-based because we've done the vegan thing. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have a balance for your body. My particular, I require a lot of plants, a lot of root vegetables. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, I have to have a little bit of fish. I have to have a little bit of chicken, a little protein. I'm anemic, so there's certain things that I have to like that. But plants, but bone broth, you know. But you know, a lot of vegetables keep my energy up. I can't eat a lot of meat because it like shit, look like shit. My poops are all weird, like, you know what I'm saying? So,
or you don't poop at all. So and
some people,
like that harmony, that balance, you gotta keep yourself fucking. Once you realize, like, you know, because I was vegan for like 4 or 5 years, and then when I did start to introduce meat back into my diet, because I noticed I was bruising super easily, I was constantly fucking hungry, like, you know, never just really feeling satisfied. And then once it was back in my diet again, I noticed that I still can't eat too much. I don't like a lot of it. I never really messed with dairy anyway, but like I still can't do that. But it does affect me in the sense of, like, you know, I need it sometimes. Like, obviously, not obviously, but, you know, I got a uterus that bleeds. When it's about to bleed, fuck if I'm not ravenous for something incarnate. But it's like, you know, you iron, you need that extra whatever because you're about to lose it all. So it's just like, again,
what it's for
your body, like you said. And so it's just like, you know, you have to try things, you have to learn yourself, and then when you do, it's like you calculate and you adjust. And so that's recalibration. So we don't eat it a lot, but we do have it sometimes. Also, on that flip side, it's just like kind of survival mode. You can't have anything too strict, because if you end up in a situation where your perfect balance is fucked up, then you are all like, you can't survive, you can't adapt.
because your body's so used to being one way. It's all like now that you have to adapt to another one, you're probably gonna die because your body's like, I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You know,
that's crazy.
it is. So it's just like, mostly it's just about trying to learn like what is really truly good for you know yourself individually, your internal chemical body makeup, and that in turn makes it like, you know, take care of you so you can take care of others, and like others is everything that's fucking sentient and living, which is, you know, all of us.
Yeah.
Everything is living and sentient.
So, you know, case in point,
Yeah.
you know, mushrooms is the way. It's the only way. If you're thinking about, you know, what if you're thinking about your trade, if you're thinking about, oh, I design, oh, I'm a carpenter, oh, I'm a seamstress, you're gonna need mushrooms. You know, you're gonna need that sustenance, you're gonna need that medicine, you're gonna need that knowledge.
Yeah.
Not everyone has to have the same skills. Just remember that. However, understand the knowledge that mushrooms and fungi are giving us. That's just like, yeah, the case in point. And have fun with it. Like, we're partying with this shit. We're learning something new every fucking day. We're trying out new things. You know, it helps you with you as a human being, as a spirit being, all the above. You know, and yeah, just like I said, have fun with it and just understand what it is, because there's a lot of, like, now we're in 2022 and there's still a lot of like you know, misconception with mushrooms and with fungi, like, as a whole, because, you know, we're having this conversation about mushrooms, and like, all in all, it's about fungi. You know, we have to understand that it's all encompassing. I'm like clipping y'all in here, so get prepared for that. Yeah, babe. Yeah, we can go like, we can go swirl it around. Gotta like, yes, anyway. You know, so yeah, just understanding that basic knowledge. You know, we're all fighting the good fight in our own way, and that's what's important. Again, I'm gonna keep stressing, not everybody's job is the same. However, again, I'm gonna keep stressing, do your work, do your research, know that it's important, know that this is the only earth that we have. This is the only soil that we have, this is the only water that we have. It is serious. It's something that, you know, Allah is offering us to take serious and also be grateful for, and also you have to be relaxed in it, because to be frantic, you get nothing done. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was just telling, because I've been working, I got a bunch of all this other shit to do, you know what I mean? But I was like telling Kia, I was like, you know, I'm using the stress to fuel the process, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at right now. It's just to use it to fuel the process, and like, let it wash over you, but also like think creatively, and how you can apply your abilities to the situation, you know. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's not about getting trippy, it's not about getting high. We love having fun, okay? We have fun having bitches, okay? Maybe right there, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, we're also understanding like, okay, I'm getting trippy. The more I get trippy, the more my fucking cortexes are fucking, you know, firing, and it's not gonna be avoided. You know, these are organisms that are tapped into the earth. You know what I mean? And the earth's got clearly a long history. You know what I mean? Right? So therefore, we should listen to the earth. Like, you know, so we just have to take that into consideration and just kind of like, yeah, get into it. I was bringing up the meat thing because like, it's not even the trip. It's afterwards, and it like activates that like, damn, I could be doing this, and this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that could even just mean like learning a skill that you like, that you had as a hobby, and then you start getting passionate about it. The mushrooms, the medicine, whether it be cannabis or anything, helps you find your passion. So find your passion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With this shit. Yeah. Don't turn it into what they want you to turn it into, which is like a commodity. Commodification is placation. Commodity is the fucking devaluer. Yep. It is the fucking devil. Bro. It is. It's the devaluer. It's gonna, when you, ironically enough, commodity equals devaluing. You know what I'm saying? It just takes the fucking fun out of everything. And mushrooms
And
are fun, dude. Mushrooms are
and
fucking
that's what's so
fun.
funny.
Like,
That's why I transitioned this to IG, because like I still want, like I still sit here and think about doing like videos for YouTube, but I was like, I don't care for YouTube. I use it for the purpose that it's used for, but I feel like once I'm trying to like forcefully turn what I love into a commodity, I'm gonna like completely shut down and I'm not gonna want to do it.
right.
So that's why I was like, if I can just keep it, like, I love doing lives. This is the first time, and this was fun. So thank you,
Yeah.
ladies.
And what's interesting I learned about IG, I'll tell you soon, but like with that, remember we were talking about we have to like understand also that energy too, because people are going to want to not pay, like gonna want to pay you, and not just paper dollars, but like
Yeah,
people are gonna want to offer payment in a way for
help
in
or
trade and exchange. You know what I'm saying?
or
We're an
tribute. Right?
exchange. Exactly. So like, you know, however that looks like, we have to understand what it's doing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And we
I
got to
think
get
that's my
comfortable.
problem.
It's
I
okay.
still
I
need to
mean,
sit on it and like separate it a little bit, because I'm like, it just all seems so overwhelming. So I'm like,
it's like,
oh,
but you got to think about it. Like that's how they did cannabis and mushrooms. Like the propaganda, money is the
yeah,
root of all evil, and this and that, and da. It's like I still, hey baby, come on now. This baby is all up into my dog is in the goddamn cords. Hold on, y'all.
that's so funny.
That
Come here.
He's
he's
like,
so
yes,
big,
I'll
just
just,
in the cords.
He's a big boo.
He's a big baby.
Give me hugs.
You got, you know, like, you know, I don't even remember what I was saying, but like, yeah, oh yeah, like you can't, as people who have like, we have multiple skill sets, we can't
yeah,
really get weird, and I'm speaking to myself as well. We can't get weird about the payment, whatever it is, because it's not always
that's
gonna be
true.
this. It's not
That's
always
true.
gonna be motherfucking this or goddamn. You know what I'm saying? It's not always gonna look the same. But when it
Yeah,
does look like those things, it's up to us to put good use into it and to like keep it in circulation. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So like,
true.
say for example, like I make Shea Whip or something, and it's fucking fire Shea Whip, and I'm just like giving it away. Of course, I want everybody to have it, and then someone offers me like $20, and I'm just like, oh no. It's like, but they're
Yeah,
like, this is $20 worth of goddamn Shea Whip. Like you're paying money to
yeah,
buy to make this, right? So you need
uh-huh,
materials to make this, correct? So
yeah,
that's like, you know what I mean? Someone gives you
that harmony and balance.
period. Of course,
it is the root of all evil, but
but
also
it's the people who
going
deal with
anywhere.
it. It's the people. It's the people. It's
What you do with it.
period.
You know, it's not the
yeah.
money's fault. It's the people.
The money was created. It's like, you
That's
know,
true.
motherfuckers. The money was created by these hands, by man's hands.
Yeah,
So like,
Because currency is a real thing. Like, you know, the trade of something, the value of a value for
yeah,
another, the exchange has always been there. Like, you know, it's
yeah.
just, it is like what she said. Like, you do want to, like, give for someone who's giving something to you. And so, you know, we've just, like, created the dollar and basically made it have value because we say so. So it's just,
Yeah.
like, you know, using the tools, the things, the whatever in a way that's, like, not just, like, pillaging and taking and like killing, literally killing. Like
Yeah.
people are
colonizing the whole fucking situation.
literally trying to fucking work themselves to death, like just to fucking keep a roof over their head, to like stay alive. And then, you know, it goes into so many fucking things. Like, you know, you have people who buy shitty food and do whatever because they got a fucking family to feed. And how do you feed fucking 7 people when you only make 15 an hour?
Period.
You know, it's just
exactly.
like, and for most people, that's a reality. Like, most people are only making between $15 and $25 an hour. And for the fucking lucky people that have something else, good for you. But, like,
on average,
the reality is, this is what most people are working with. And so it makes it really hard when you want to do all the other things. You know, we're humans. We do whatever. We want people around. We make more people.
Yeah, you have desires.
Yeah. And it's just like you know, those are all regular fucking things. We shouldn't have to like calculate every single move in our life,
right?
Just to make sure that we can fucking do it again tomorrow. Like, and everyone is sick of that. Everyone's tired of it, and people make themselves sick. Like, you know, I don't know about other people, but I got a ton of people in my world, in my circle, that have anxiety, are fucking depressed, are stressed out. And a lot of it is just because of how we have to live life. And then we are also the, like, product of other people that have been stressing about this for the last fucking 50, 40, 30 years.
So that coding,
and it all comes into us. It's all downloaded into us. And so, like, we have so many years of, like, shit that's downloaded into us. So, like, you already come out kind of fucking stressed out, and then you're, like, in a stressful situation, and then it's just stress always. And then, like, the way we raise our kids and, like, sending them to fucking school, and school's crazy and insane, and you can't even do that and trust it
anymore
for so many other reasons outside of the violence that's been happening. But then, like, you know, our education is bullshit. Like, everything about it is wrong.
Everything don't actually want to teach.
Teachers don't actually want to teach, and then you have people that don't fucking know anything and go out into the world, and you're supposed to, like, work and deal with them and, like, navigate with them and, like, real situations.
And somehow be an adult was like a minimal amount of information
and effort. Like, you don't have to put nothing. You just got to give the bare minimum. Like,
or just like
that's what America teaches you, is the bare minimum will get you. But then they're gonna fucking fuck with you if you know they're gonna fuck with you because you only did the bare minimum. But they're gonna tell you only the bare minimum. They're gonna only provide you the bare minimum. The bare minimum is accepted. However, you're a piece of shit because you're doing the bare minimum.
Right? It's like, but this is what you taught me.
The worst.
No, that's why I said it's like it is. It's like a severe mental illness, and like you said, like that gets downloaded into us like through generations. So it's all like, even if it's something you don't want to pass on, you're probably going to pass it on anyway because it was passed on to you and it's in you already.
It's electromagnetic. It's electromagnetic.
Yeah. And then that's
so
the only thing comes in, and that's why it's like you have to, again, sit with yourself to know that. How do we repair?
There are actual nematodes in our system, electromagnetic nematodes that get passed down by 7 generations. So it's been biologically proven that generational coding is a real thing, electromagnetic. So that proves that what you're saying is a fact. It literally gets passed down like a fucking shock. You know, once this body is shocked, and then I have a baby. Now my baby is gonna have that, and so on and so forth. You know, and they're gonna have that in their back of their mind, like, why do I feel like this way towards this? You know. So
and they never know, but it's because it was downloaded, and then as you get older and you start to understand, you're like, holy shit, that's why.
That's biological. Actually, scientifically, look that shit up. Science. That's in our bodies. It's not fucking woo-woo. Okay? Yeah. So, you know, all in all that to say, because I know we've been at this for a while, but like, all in all that to say, like, you know, we're all doing the work. Carmen, you're doing the work. I know it, you know. Anyone who's watching, anyone who has been watching, anyone who's listening, like I said, tap into your skill set, have fun with this shit and take it seriously at the same time. Find your balance with that, with yourself, because at the end of the day, it's individual. It's individual for the whole. Just think of it like that. You can't sit there and be like Ayn Rand and be like, I'm the only one that's ever but you also can't be so fucking selfless that you sacrifice your own body and self for the sake of motherfuckers who might not even do it for you. Or don't tire yourself out for that shit. It's finding that balance, and it's like, okay, when I take care of myself and I go and I do these things that make me feel good and make me feel whole and healthy, I'm ready for the people. You know what I mean? So shout out the mushrooms for like opening up that knowledge. You know what I mean? Continuing to open up that knowledge.
Here for 65 million years.
Like,
billion.
Damn. Motherfuckers was biggest, like, bruh, big. You would think they were cactuses. I'll show you a picture. They're fucking huge.
I don't doubt it. Everything was huge once upon a time. Yeah. Like, I remember,
everything was like 10, 20 times as big. Like, even the fucking trees
was more giant.
Like,
I know. Oh my God.
Take me 3
we
days
need to do an episode, because I want to talk. I don't know if you guys heard about Devil's Tower. It's supposed to be like, it's supposedly like a mesa. It's supposed to be like a mountain, but it's not. It's not a fucking mountain. Like, if you look at it, you can tell it was a tree. It was a gigantic fucking tree.
Wow.
Yeah. So check it out.
The trunk.
Yeah. That's the trunk. That it broke down or something, or
nutrition and fucking like that was in the earth. That's just like, that shows you what's been fucking zapped. What's been like, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
Right now, it's a resurgence because, you know, motherfuckers have been for over 20, 30, longer than that, like 30, 40 years have been really going into figuring out, making it even fucking legal to utilize these methods. You know what I mean? At this point, it's like definitely legal and it's fine, whatever. But like getting it to the point where it's a household name. It's a normal thing to do to be able to train your mycelium to clean up waste. Garrett, you know, something we've been talking about is that people who are in mycology, the mycologists, like, you know, everyone, we're all going to be the new waste management because that's going to be the only way to clean up the waste. We won't be able to throw it anywhere. They can't.
It is.
We can't go. It has to be like ate up.
Yeah, because it's like it can't. We don't have enough space for any more trash. Supposedly, we don't have enough space for us. So of course, we're not going to have any more space for landfill.
Right.
And then people are like, "Oh, well, we could send it to space." It's like, okay, so now we clutter space, and then we cut ourselves off from the sun.
A fucking asteroid, you assholes! Like literally. God damn! Then we have falling fucking trash, and then we have acid rain. Bruh.
I know. It makes your brain bleed.
My eyebrows are burning.
Literally.
Yeah, eyebrows on fire.
My shit off, bruh.
They singed just gone. I know.
Waxed.
It's insane. But hell yeah, no. We'll have to do this another time.
Hell yeah.
This was fun.
Hell yeah.
But yes. Thank you for sharing your knowledge about mycology and, you know, all the shit that I know nothing about.
And even if you want to just go live and just do some weird shit, you know what I mean? Because
I'm with it. Y'all just let me know. I honestly, my schedule is pretty open. If I work, it's usually, because lately I've been doing more delivery driving at like night and stuff. So like, yeah, my schedule's pretty open. So just let me know.
Gang. Okay. And yeah, let's do this again sometime. Because like I said, we're always learning new shit and, you know,
different stuff to show you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, man, you always got something new. I'm all like, yeah, I know I can learn something if I talk to both of you. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna be leveled up. I'm gonna be leveled up.
Hey, you the level up.
I'm working.
Trying to get like you.
You so steady. But hell yeah, we'll do this again. Thank you for joining me, ladies.
Oh yeah, boo.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon,
y'all.
right?
All right.
All right, baby. Good night.
Bye, loves.